this is what it looks like. This is so weird. I'm so sorry, guys. Let's talk about periods. I remember when I started my period for the first time, I literally did not know what it was. I was so confused because nobody had taken the time to really explain to me the whole process and what to expect and how to use a pad, a tampon, all that stuff that I really should have known. I had no clue. And I was one of those that actually started their periods super early. I started my period in 5th grade. I was so ashamed whenever I had to like take my pad with me like to bathroom breaks. I didn't know anybody else that had started their periods then because most of my friends didn't even start their period until 7th grade, 8th grade. So it was a hard couple years. And I just don't want you to go through that awkwardness and not knowing and all of that. So that's why I've decided to create this video. So if you want to know more, keep on watching. Okay, the first thing I want to mention to you is periods are normal. You don't have to feel ashamed, grossed out, disgusted, or unclean or anything like that. It's normal. It's just a thing that every girl has to go through. And in fact, periods are actually good for you because I'm not a doctor, so like don't quote me on this, but whenever we have our periods, that's kind of how our body is cleansing itself. And so it's actually good. Like you want to have a regular cycle. You want to have your periods and stuff. So I just want to throw that out there. It's normal. Don't ever feel ashamed about it. Okay, so usually girls will get their periods between the ages of 10 to 16. 10 is probably not accurate because that's so young, but it's possible. And there's not really like any particular age that you need to get your period by. And if you are one that gets their period younger, it's okay, but if you're one that gets their period older, that's okay as well. There's not like one particular age that you should be like scared about if you don't end up getting your period. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm just sharing this to you as someone who is a female and has gone through it. So that being said, usually when you are on your period, what's happening is like the body is cleansing itself, so there's actually like blood coming out of you. Also, you might experience a lot of back aches and cramps. It's not fun. The first couple times really sucks, but usually it gets better. So personally, when I first started my period in 5th grade, I had really bad cramps, but now my cramps aren't even like that bad. And usually girls will take either ibuprofen or Midol for their cramps. So I have always used ibuprofen and it works perfectly fine, but if your cramps are really bad, Midol is actually created specifically for period cramps, and so that might be better for you depending on how severe your cramps are. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but your period should last any time between like 3 to 7 days, and you should be getting your period about the same time every month. So usually mine lasts like 5 days. The first 2 days is probably the worst. That's when I have the most cramps and the most bleeding, and then by like day 3, like I'm okay. I'm not bleeding as much and my cramps aren't as bad. Now let's actually talk about what do you do when you start bleeding. So you can either use pads or tampons. Okay, so I actually don't have any pads with me because I normally only use tampons, so I'm out of pads. But a pad is what you put on your underwear. You stick it to your underwear and it will absorb all the blood. I usually recommend, if you're just starting out getting your period, go ahead and use a pad first. I didn't use tampons until I got to like 7th grade because I was like playing sports and it got hard to play sports or go swimming and stuff like that, and pads. So I'll open this for you. This is actually a panty liner. I use this when I'm about to start my period and I don't know if I'm there yet or not. So this is like a really thin pad, but this is usually what a pad looks like. It comes with this thing where when you take it off, there's this like sticky side. Sorry, this is a little weird, I know, but you gotta learn somehow. And so the sticky side is what you would put on your underwear. And usually pads come with like little flaps on both sides where you can then put the flap around your underwear. That just secures it a little bit better. Now moving on to tampons. So when it comes to tampons, you can either get regular size tampons. This is if like your bleeding isn't like too bad, you can just use a regular size tampon. But if you're like bleeding really strong, you can also use supersized tampons. But I guess I can open this and show you all what the tampon looks like. It's a really odd. So this is a tampon applicator. I feel weird doing this. But you pretty much put this down there and you press the tampon applicator thing up as you also push this, and so you do that, and you see the tampon like comes out. As the tampon comes out, it's supposed to actually insert down there. That's weird. So I'll show you. This is what it looks like. This is so weird. I'm so sorry, guys. So yeah, this is what a tampon looks like. And then once it's in you'll have like this thing like dangling. If it's inserted properly, you should not even feel it at all. It's like nothing is there. And then when it's time to take it out, you just pull it with the string. So now we know what tampons and pads look like. There are a lot of different brands of tampons and pads. I always use this brand called Playtex. This is the sports Playtex for tampons. I don't know, I like them. They always work really good for me. There are also like different types of tampons, ones with an applicator, ones without an applicator, and there's so many different types of pads. You can get pads and tampons for any like flow type. So if you're bleeding, your flow type is like how much you're bleeding. So if you're bleeding a lot, like on my day 1 and day 2, I usually use like the super tampons or super size pads. And then as my period gets lighter and lighter, as my cycle goes on, I end up using just a regular size tampon. Again, tampons are really nice if you're very active, if you're going swimming and stuff like that. But I do recommend starting with pads, and I also recommend wearing pads at nighttime, just because you don't really want a tampon in you for like longer than 6 hours. You can end up getting infections and stuff like that. So that is about it on pads and tampons. I'm sorry that was a little graphic, but I want you to know what to expect. Okay, so now let's talk about the mood changes that you might experience when starting your period. Your hormones during this time are going to start going crazy, and you might literally feel like out of control and weird when you are about to start your period, because when our cycles are coming up, usually people will start feeling like really irritated, sad. You might find yourself crying a lot, but you don't even know what you're sad about. And if you're already just like an emotional person anyways, this part kind of sucks because you might find yourself just really emotional. If you find yourself emotional but you have like no reason to be emotional, most likely that's just like your hormones kicking in. On top of that, you might experience some acne. For me, I've always had like good skin, and I've been very blessed, but right before I start my period, I'll like notice some pimples coming up, and that is usually a sign that I'm about to start my period. So I just want to let you know, like, that's all normal. It's normal to like feel all these crazy hormones and the acnes and all of that. Also, you might start craving like really random things. Most people crave chocolate. For me, I crave like really spicy things or really sour things. So like typically when I start craving lemons, I know I'm about to start my period. Speaking of, I'm literally craving lemons right now, and I think I am about to start my period in the next couple days. So it's weird. You'll have your weird cravings. That's okay. It's just part of it. Okay, I have one more thing I want to share with you, and this is seriously life changing, so please listen up. So I downloaded this app called Flow. It's a period menstrual cycle tracking app. It's been amazing. So you can download the app on the App Store, and it's amazing because you can track your period on the app. It also tells you like how many days until you start your period. There's like a place where you can ask some questions. There are like a lot of articles that you can read about your period and all of that, and it's just really amazing. It is made by a doctor, someone that really knows what they're doing, and yeah, it's amazing. So if you want to check that out, the app is called Flow, and I really think you might find it helpful if you have started your period. But that is all I got for you. I hope you found that video helpful. Again, know that all of this is normal. It's just part of being a female. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to DM me, comment down below. If you want to see more videos from me, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also, feel free to follow me over on Instagram and TikTok. But that is all I got for you, and until next time, bye!